Joining us to react, Kelly Sadler and Joe Pinion. They're back with us now. Just a reminder, the New York Democratic primary is June 23rd. Congressman Engel is a Democrat. And Kelly, if this statement wasn't caught on a hot mic, some might find it hard to believe coming from him.
Oh, my goodness. And he's come under a lot of scrutiny because he has not been in his district campaigning at all. During the whole COVID-19 lockdown, he was nowhere near the Bronx and did not comment on it at all. I think he saw this as a way to gain political advantage, which is just unfortunate. He's there to serve his constituents, not have the title of representative and live in Washington, D.C. And I think the hot mic represented exactly who he is and what he's about.
Just want to share a statement here that he released, quote, "In the context of running for re-election, I thought it was important for people to know where I stand. That's why I asked to speak." Again, that's what he said in reaction once he was caught. Joe, does that statement make things any better?
No, I think the reality is that we don't need him to speak. We need him to stand with the people in their time of need and to be present. I can say personally, Eliot Engel has been my congressman literally my entire life. I found my first gray hair the other day. So, this is the type of inaction that has become commonplace with regards to his leadership or lack thereof. This is an individual who, again, I live in Yonkers, again, born and raised. We are a district where the average school building is 85 years old. We've got children learning math in decommissioned locker rooms with rain coming through the ceiling because of the fact that we don't have adequate funding for one of the largest school districts in the state and one of the largest school districts in the country when you talk about large cities. So these are the issues that have been plaguing our hometown, his constituents, that he has been missing in action for. And conversations like this one or comments like this one should not be surprising given the lack of actual service that we've received for the better part of 20 some odd years. Yeah,
Joe, the fact that this is happening, where you live, and this is your congressman here, is this isolated to just Congressman Engel, or are other people sharing these similar thoughts? Of course, when you're up on that ballot for re-election, who might want to have that microphone just to express that they do care when maybe that's not their initial intention.
Look, I think it's quite telling. People who are present and often in alignment with the people don't need an isolated, date with a microphone to try to let the people know where they stand. I think, again, the only time I hear from Eliot Engel is when it's time for him to get reelected, and then we get the very large placards with his face on them in the mail. So to be clear, I think this is Eliot Engel's problem, but I think it's the Democrats' problem as well, because often they show up every 4 years asking for people's votes, and there's not a lot of service in between the postcards.
Kelly, we talked about this a little earlier in our first hour here, but we are getting a new look at how black voters may be voting in November. I want to share with you both this poll. It's a look from CNBC. The poll found that the presidential race is virtually tied among black voters in 6 swing states. Biden does hold a slight edge, 47% to 46%. President Trump, of course, keeps defending his record with African Americans. Kelly, your reaction to this poll here, and of course, swing states are so crucial when we do head into the November election. And just comment, how close this really appears to be.
Yeah, swing states are where the election is going to be won. And so we find this poll very encouraging, that some of the message that the president, the policies that he's delivered to the African community are resonating. But I think the point is that Democrats, and it was just said, Democrats every 4 years go into African American minority communities and promise the world. But then when they get reelected, they don't deliver on any of their promises. They take these votes for granted. And President Trump is out there actively trying to win these votes. They put together a black coalition that does outreach every day to this community, figures out what their needs are, what policies to support them by. He's increased funding to HBCUs, historically black colleges, and made that permanent, something that was never done in the Obama years. And then just through the economic policies, like I've said before, with opportunity zones and rebuilding, U.S. manufacturing to provide employment for jobs that were shipped overseas. These policies impact everyone in this country, and I think that some of these policies are resonating with the African American community, which is very encouraging for us.
Well, this poll comes out, about a week after the comment that Joe Biden made about, if you don't know who you're voting for between me and Trump, you ain't black. Joe, it seems like President Trump does have black supporters who plan to vote for him in November.
Look, I think that we should be enlightened or happy about the fact that I do think that President Trump has made a tremendous amount of effort trying to court the African-American vote. You talk about black voters for Trump. He's done more, I think, in many ways from an electoral standpoint to get active in the African-American community than any other Republican, certainly in my lifetime. But I think, we should be cautious about reading too much into polls. If President Trump's going to get 46% of the vote but from African-Americans in swing states, he's going to win 50 states. It'll be a landslide. So I think that, it's a huge opportunity in the present for President Trump to step into this leadership void. We have black people all across this nation who are reeling. And I think similar to LBJ, who, again, wasn't always the most politically correct person, but today we don't remember that. We remember him as a civil rights icon. And President Trump has been presented with a once-in-a-generational opportunity to step into the fray, to fill the leadership void, and to show people that he stands in solidarity with them, and to say that criminal justice reform is not just about Alice Johnson. It's also about making sure that black people feel safe in their own homes. And I think if you can get that message across in these coming days and months, then yes, it is possible that we can see a Republican get the type of support in the African-American community that we've never seen before.
Guys, it's great having you both on. Kelly Sadler, Joe Pinion, great conversations, really good points. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.